Coach, the luxury handbag, is getting into NASCAR. This week, they announced that they will be sponsoring Toni Breidinger, who drives in the Craftsman Truck Series. They will be sponsoring her for at least 2 races starting this weekend. That means that not only is she getting financial sponsorship, but her truck is getting a pretty cool makeover. And what I think is interesting about this is it expands the idea of what we've been talking about for the last year and a half, really, which is the type of sponsorship that women can bring to motorsports. Luxury handbags are not necessarily something you would expect to see on the side of a NASCAR truck, but Toni Breidinger is someone who has made some really interesting moves when it comes to her sponsorships in general. Previously, we actually saw her sponsored by Kendall Jenner's drink brand, 818, and we've also seen her work with brands like Raising Cane's. But the Coach sponsorship in particular really highlights a trend that we've been seeing grow over and over again. We've talked about makeup getting into motorsports, and that really stretches across series. Catherine Legg has been sponsored by e.l.f. not only in the Indy 500, but in IndyCar races themselves, as well as a number of NASCAR entries. We've also seen Charlotte Tilbury get into F1 Academy, not only sponsoring an entire car, but also sponsoring the entire series. And with one of the F1 Academy drivers previously, we actually saw Bianca Bustamante sponsored by another makeup company, Anastasia of Beverly Hills, in a different series. And of course, it's not just makeup brands that we're seeing get into this. And it's not even just on cars driven by women. This year, we saw Elemis get into Formula One, sponsoring Aston Martin, for example. And that was because of an understanding of the shift in viewership in Formula One as well. So across the board, we're seeing an entirely different brand category start to understand that women are inherently a part of motorsports, not only as drivers like the F1 Academy drivers and Toni Breidinger, but also as a viewership category, and a rapidly growing one at that. And the more that we start to see brands that are typically seen as female focused, whether that's makeup, skincare, handbags, clothing, the more that we see that those brands are viewing motorsports as a way to reach their target demographic. And I think objectively, something that we've been talking about for a while now is the idea that women on both sides of this are bringing in a completely different revenue stream. And so it's super exciting to not only see brands like Coach getting involved in motorsports and sponsoring a female driver, but to look at the larger picture and see that we are not only seeing makeup and skincare, but luxury fashion as well. I think this marks a very interesting shift in the market, which is an understanding that female viewership is here, and this is a great place to reach them. Whether that's NASCAR, Formula One, F1 Academy, or IndyCar, these brands are recognizing that this category is a valuable one. And I think that is super, super exciting.